Round 15 had blowouts aplenty, and with 6 points separating fourth from 15th on the ladder, the comp is anyone's game. So let's get into round 16. G'day guys, welcome back to The Casual Athlete for your weekly tipping and predictions video. I'm your host Burgz, and this week we're hitting you with tips and predictions for round 16. But as we always do, let's take a look back at how we did in round 15. As you can see, guys, unfortunately, I didn't have the best week this week. It was 4 out of 8. The Tigers ruined my streak. I was 14 from 14 on the first game of the round, and that is a bit of a shot to the ego, but we move on. The Warriors got the win out at GIO Stadium in Canberra, and that was a tip that not a lot of people took, but I was very confident going into that game with the Warriors. They ruined the party, and Jared Croker didn't unfortunately get the big party that he had. I'm sure he had a few commisseratory drinks at Mooseheads after the game. And then we went on to the Dolphins versus Manly. Now, I will say, guys, I did amend this tip later in the week. I just thought that the Dolphins weren't going to get that done, and I was correct in that regard. But please let me know if you want to see my amendments during the week, guys. We are going about this week by week at the moment, so please let me know down in the comments if you'd like to hear any amendments before games. The Rabbitohs, I thought they'd get that game done. Honestly, I thought they'd beat the Dragons, and tell you what, they gave them an almighty scare in the last 5 minutes as they were coming back, and the Dragons only ended up winning that game by 6 points, which was, a shock to me. I just thought, even with the outs they had, Cam Murray, Walker, Latrell, I still thought they had enough gas in the tank to beat the Dragons, but now they get a week off, so hopefully a few of those guys can get a bit healthier. The Broncos made it hard work up against the Knights out at Suncorp. I thought they'd get that game done pretty handily, but it took some absolute magic from Reynolds and Mam to even get them over the line. And you just saw at the end of that game, the Knights heartbroken that they didn't get the job done. Unfortunately, didn't get the 2 points, and that's what separates the good teams from the bad teams at the moment. The good teams have enough left in the tank to kick it on to the 80th minute, and that's what counts. The Roosters, well, they were just pathetic, honestly. I'm going to be pretty harsh on the Roosters this week. Just did not come out with any type of attitude. Again, their attack is so lackluster, it's embarrassing to watch at the moment. Sorry for any Roosters fans listening to this, but I'm just sick of watching your team disappoint me week in, week out, and I think they're disappointing not only me, but a lot of their fans as well. They can't get it together. Don't know what is going on, and they need to sort it out. Otherwise, I think that they could miss the 8 at this point in time. Yep, I'm calling it now. I think the Roosters will miss the top 8 this season if they keep playing the way that they are. Storm, I thought they'd get this game done 1-12, but they blew out the Sharks at Amy Park, and that was awesome to watch. Just absolutely clicking into gear, and the Sharks didn't have an answer. Just couldn't go with them in any way, shape, or form, and they nearly put 60 points on them. And unfortunately, that rules the Sharks out this year for winning a premiership. As far as the letter of history goes, if you concede 50 points, you don't win the premiership. And yeah, I think the Sharks are done this year. And the Storm, well, they got a win for me, and that's great. Parramatta was next, and they got that game done 13 plus. It was the only margin that I hit this week. With a lot of blowouts happening in these games, it was pretty tough to get the margins, but if you went overs on a lot of these games, you won your money and then some. And we move on to round 16. Just a quick reminder, guys, that only 68% of you are subscribed to the channel at the moment, so please make sure that you like and subscribe. We are bringing out so much content each and every week. If you hit that subscribe button, it helps us out a ton. And let's get into round 16's tips. Only 5 games to get through, guys, so it should be pretty quick. Up first, we have my North Queensland Cowboys taking on the Panthers at Queensland Country Bank Stadium. Both teams have a few outs due to Origin on the following Wednesday. The Cowboys have 4 players out for this game, and Penrith, I think it's up to 7 now, with Spencer Leniu getting selected for Origin 2. Yeah, just a lot of outs for both teams at the moment. It's going to be an interesting game. I think the Cowboys coming off the bye and also a 45-point outing against the Storm helps them a lot in this game. They need to put up some points and they need to make sure that their defense is rock solid. Penrith, on the other hand, they still have Dylan Edwards in the side, and he is always going to be a threat. And that forward pack is working together as well as that defense. The Penrith Panthers are awesome in defense at the moment, just easily the best defensive team in the comp. So it's tough for me. I want to tip my Cowboys in this one. And I'm going to tip the Cowboys, guys. 1-12. I think they get it done against a depleted Penrith roster that is missing a fair few big names. Starting on Super Saturday at 3 p.m., guys, we have the Knights taking on the Roosters. Two very different sides of the coin. I know I spoke about the Knights in our look back from last week. Heartbroken at the end of the game. You just saw Hastings and Gamble trying to give it everything they had. KP was instrumental in this game, had a very good impact. Just wasn't enough, though, was it? Against a very quality side. This week, though, they're playing a team that is languishing down in 12th right now. I don't even know how the Roosters are in 12th, to tell you the truth. In my head, they've lost way more games than they actually have won. And when they do win, it's not by many. They're just not putting up any points at the moment. The Roosters are struggling to find any cohesion with a spine that's played quite a fair bit together. Aside from Hooker, really. You've got Tedesco and Kiri who have played a long time together. Manu's been part of that side a long time. And, they did what they always do against Penrith or any team that's beating them by a fair way. Start a fight at the end of the game just because they can. It was a bit embarrassing to watch, to tell you the truth. I think the Roosters need to find a way to get their attack to click. Otherwise, they're going to be missing the 8 this year. And I say that right now, it's a very serious situation with only 11 rounds left in the season. In this one, though, I'm going to go the Knights. They've got a very good record out at McDonald Jones Stadium this year, and they seem to be playing some very consistent football. Just didn't get it done against the Broncos, but I think they get this one 1-12. The 5:30 game on Saturday, guys, is the Parramatta Eels taking on the Manly Warringah Seagulls. And a couple of outs again. Key ones for both teams here. No Moses, no Paulo, no Dylan Brown, who's been stood down. And then on the Manly Seagulls side of things, you've got no Tom Trebojevic and no DCE. And those two players, possibly the most important for the Manly Seagulls. In this one, though, I think it's interesting in terms of the players that are out because both teams are going to be missing, a key half. And then with Para, they're missing probably the guy who normally steps up for Mitchell Moses when he is out, and that is Dylan Brown. So right now, I think that their halves are going to be Dejan Arce and someone from reserve grade. And I don't know if you guys know this, but the Parramatta reserve grade team got 60 put on them by the Bulldogs this week. And yeah, it's one of those things where there's not many people knocking on the door for those positions. Jake Arthur could suit up, though, at halfback for Manly against his old team, and wouldn't that be a great little storyline for this matchup? And yeah, in this matchup, guys, I'm actually going to go with the Seagulls in this one. I think that they showed enough last week for me to give them my tip. So I'm going to go Seagulls 13 plus. Last game on Saturday, guys, is the Tigers taking on the Storm out at Campbelltown Stadium. And the Storm have a few outs, but the Tigers, I'm telling you, they copped a pretty bad luck injury bug last week. No Brooks for this game. There's going to be no Coruscant. He is out for both Origin 2 and 3 as well. And that's a blow to Blues fans, unfortunately. And the Storm, well, they have actually got a pretty decent record without Cameron Munster, who is the big name going to be out for them in this game. No Christian Welch, as well as he faces a one-game ban for his sin bin incident the other day. And no Xavier Coates, as he has been also selected for Queensland to play in game 2. And for the Tigers, the record is pretty bad out at Campbelltown at the moment, and it is also a great hunting ground for the Storm. They've won every single time that these two teams have played at the venue. Plus, they've won 8 out of the last 10 against the Tigers. And I think that will continue this week. Just with the outs that the Tigers have, I just don't see it coming together from a playmaking standpoint. Jareem Buller is an absolute superstar. I will say that. He should have an impact on this game. However, I think the Storm, coming off a big win, have got their groove back a little bit more. So I'm going to go with the Storm, 13 plus. Last game of the round, guys, and we have the Sharks taking on the Dogs at PointsBet Stadium. And I tell you what, I think the Sharks come out and blow the roof off PointsBet Stadium. They have to be pissed off with the way that they played the other night. None more pissed off than Nico Hines. I think he will come out and destroy the Dogs this week. He will be absolutely fired up that he was not selected for this Blues team for Origin 2. He is going to have a blockbuster game. If you have got him in Supercoach or Fantasy, I would be captaining him this week, and he is going to take the Dogs to the cleaners. I think that the Sharks get this one done. 13 plus. Their record has been very good against teams outside the 8 this year, and unfortunately, I just don't see the Dogs going with them. They're going to be missing a couple of guys as well. I'm going to go Sharks, 13 plus. So that's it for the video this week, guys. Let me know what you think down in the comments section below. Please make sure that you like and subscribe to the channel. We bring out so much content week in and week out, guys, and I'll catch you on the next one.